Facebook. Morning class. Once again, we got another class going on. It's Thursday morning. It's kind of a light class, actually. I usually have about 10 or 12 students. Then I only have 5. So either way, I know at least I have 2 that are looking for employment. Once they complete the class, one will be DNG licensed. So if you need somebody right away with a firearm, he can get his Temp G license. Anyway, today we're going to talk about fire prevention and first aid, kind of a little bit of do's and don'ts and the reality behind it. Out there in the real world, people get certified in CPR. And after watching Grey's Anatomy or ER, they think they're a professional at it, and they think CPR is like the greatest thing in the world and is going to save your life. And if you magically wind up passing out, you're going to all of a sudden miraculously come back to life. Newsflash, CPR doesn't work in that sense. First of all, if you ain't breaking the ribs, if you didn't break the ribs, you didn't do it right. All right, your chest compressions alone, two-thirds of the length, the distance of the chest to the rib cage, you're going to break the ribs. So if you hear ribs cracking, you're doing it right. Once you do CPR, CPR is only designed to do one thing: to circulate oxygenated blood through the body to the brain, so you don't die or become a vegetable. Because anywhere from, I believe it's between 4 to 6 minutes and longer, you start losing brain function. Your brain will start to shut down. After 6 to 8 minutes without oxygen, you can pretty much call it done. Once you start CPR, you don't stop. All right? They've got different methods out there: American Red Cross, American Safety and Health Institute, American Heart Association. They all have a different way of doing it. You've got 30 to 2, 30 chest compressions to 2 rescue breaths, 30 to 1. You've got, the hell's the other one? All straight compressions. You don't stop pushing until you get tired, and then you tap out and get somebody else to do it. The only time that I have physically seen CPR work and magically do what they do in the movies and bring somebody back to life is electric shock and drowning. Lungs are filled with fluid. Also, the only thing that I don't like about that is when they a little coughing up of water. It's usually never that. A little bit more than that. Also, when you're doing chest compressions, if you wind up blowing air into the stomach, you're going to throw up in your face. So just so you're aware. By the way, I'm ready to have a call come through the phone right now, just so you know. All right.
Should I reject?
Yeah, just ignore it. We're not reject it. Also, we have training under the Good Samaritan Act. Is designed to protect you, the citizen, against any civil liability. Well, over time, that's changed, where it was just a nice blanket you could curl yourself up with. Say, hey, I did my best. I tried. Maybe they make it. Maybe they didn't. Maybe they came out in a vegetative state. Maybe they broke their neck. Whatever. You further injured them, but you did it with the best intentions. You didn't do it maliciously. It doesn't matter now. If you are ever trained, if you are trained and hold a current certification for anything medical related, first responder, CPR, that Good Samaritan Act goes out the window. You are now considered a trained professional. So if you do something outside of your scope of care, yeah, you're going to be sued for it. Hate to say it like that, but we're in a sue-happy world. Everybody will sue you for whatever reason they can come up with. Oh, I slipped, I fell. Pay my medical expenses. I don't want to work for the rest of my life. Sorry, it's the truth. I hate people. All right? Nobody's has honor anymore. There's no honor in suing somebody unless you have a really damn good reason for it. Now, talk about a little bit of first aid. We'll talk about 5 life and death situations. Stop breathing. All right, bleeding. Stop breathing. Stopped heart. Shock. And poison or illness. Now, the stopped heart thing. An AED is not designed like a jump start for your car to magically restart the heart. All right? And also, stripping 2 bare wires down from an AC circuit and touching them to the human body is not a good idea. And also, don't try to restart a vehicle with an AED or a defibrillator. That'll never work out really good for you. Different current. Anyway, so an AED, if you wind up, somebody winds up having a heart attack and heart stops. Like, oh wow, look at that. He's got no pulse. You go to hook an AED to him, AED is not going to do anything. The only time, you don't have drugs. Let's just face it. The only way to restart that heart is with drugs and maybe cracking open that chest and massaging that heart and getting a drug shot directly to that heart. Adrenaline, epinephrine actually will sometimes work, but don't do that. So if you think an AED is just going to magically restart the heart, it doesn't work that way. It's designed for arrhythmia, meaning that the heart is either seizing or is out of sync with itself. Our heart is like boom, 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 boom. Arrhythmia means it's going boom, 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 boom at the same time. It's out of rhythm. Or it's just one solid boom, or it's going boom, and then the other, upper and lower region of the heart. You have two regions of it. And it's not compressing properly. It locks up and seizes where the other one's trying to pump. So it's not working. Both aren't circulating blood, oxygenated blood through your system. Now, chest compressions, straight chest compressions, the theory behind that is while you're pushing down on the chest, it's actually you're pushing in half the distance of the chest to the spinal column, not 2/3. I apologize for that. That's on like neonatal and children. Anyway, when you're pushing in on the chest there, you're pushing in on this where the sternum is. Just so you doing that, the theory is it's pushing in on the diaphragm and pushing air out of your lungs, and then when you're pulling back up to relieve yourself, it winds up drawing oxygen into the lungs. So it's self-oxygenating the blood. The other thing is when you do the head tilt, chin lift, and pinch the nose, support the jaw, and blow into the mouth, that even though you're exhaling, was it carbon monoxide, I believe is what it is, carbon dioxide, one of the two, I don't remember, don't care, that there's still enough oxygen content in that air for the human brain to continue to function. There's enough to oxygenate the blood to keep the blood flow going. So we talk about the 5 life and death situations, stop bleeding. Obviously somebody bleeding, never a good thing, right? If it's minor, if it's superficial, put a Band-Aid on it, man up, all right? Nut up or shut up, right? And get back to work. If it's a little deeper, you got blood spurting out, tourniquet. All right, apply pressure, tourniquet. You don't want to lose that limb. Once that limb has no blood flow to it, you're going to lose it. So you put a tourniquet on it, T, time, that whole thing. And then every few minutes or so, release a little bit so it does send a little bit of blood through that limb. If not, they're going to totally lose it. That's bleeding. Then we get into stopped heart and stop breathing. We'll rope them in together because if they stop breathing, all right, first of all, they go, I'm choking. They haven't stopped breathing. They're not completely choking. All right, I mean, they're choking, but they're not like dying. Once they stop talking to you, and it's just like, no noises, oh yeah, now they're choking. All right, then you get to go into the, what the hell, they were sued over that. It used to be called the Heimlich maneuver. What the hell?
It just got changed.
Well, what the hell is it called again now? Abdominal thrust.
Yep.
Makes me want to smack the stupid out of people. Anyway, so you abdominal thrust. I'm like, man, that sounds so perverted. I'm going to abdominal thrust you. That's so ridiculous. Anyway, abdominal thrust for choking. They're not choking until they're no longer making any sounds, noises, or whatever. Keep them coughing, all right? Induce coughing, let them keep coughing. Hopefully they'll dislodge it. My thing is I like to wait for them to pass out before I offer any help because then it becomes implied consent. If you don't have their consent to help them and they say, no, I don't want your help, and they like, oh, then pass out, turn blue, start dying, you're like, well, you didn't want my help, sorry about your luck. If you do like I do and I generally just wait for them to pass out, then it becomes implied consent, where you reasonably assume that they want to be saved. So if you feel the urge to save somebody's life and they kind of seem like a dick, let them pass out first, and then you can use some implied consent in saving them. If they have a DNR, a do not resuscitate, and you know this, don't touch them, let them die. All right. We got bleeding, we got stopped heart. Stopped heart, you're doing chest compressions, you're automatically going to jump into CPR. Go ahead and throw an AED on there, see if it's just out of rhythm with itself, or if it's seizing. If it is, it'll pop it back in rhythm. You don't have drugs, so just push that chest in, get that diaphragm moving, give them some rescue breaths, whatever your level of training in CPR is, and keep on going. All right, I'm not going to teach you CPR because, quite honestly, like I said, if you have a certification, you become a trained professional. I've been trained in CPR, first aid, first response, I mean, airway, IVs, you name it, I can pretty much do it. I let all my certifications lapse. Because now, I'm just some Joe Blow on the street. If I decide to step in and intervene to save your life, you can't sue me. I'm no longer considered a trained professional. Because I'm no longer covered by my little certifications. I'm also no longer doing fire rescue as well, where you have a duty to act. In the security field, we do not have a duty to act. We are not law enforcement. We are not first responders in that sense of medical or EMS or fire rescue. They are obligated to stop and assist you. Right? It's if they don't, it's abandonment. It's negligence and abandonment. They will be charged with crime if they don't help you. That's why it kind of sucks working in that field because you are bound by a 24/7 obligation to help someone else. So that's stopped heart, stopped breathing, bleeding, recovered, shock. Well, during every situation, you go through some form of shock. All right. The walking wounded, those are that's the best one right there. Had an accident one time. Guy was vehicle hit a guardrail, kind of did like a quick, 360 a couple times, smacking into the guardrail. Came to a rest. I pulled up, I guess, just after it took place because everybody was starting to get out of the vehicle. Traffic was starting to slow down, so I put my lights on, pull over, get out, started asking if everybody's okay. Female, 2 kids, and a male who I assumed at the time was a Good Samaritan. Seemed perfectly fine, no problems whatsoever. Checking on the family there, seeing if everything's okay. And I look at him, and it's just all of a sudden this blank expression came over his face, eyes got real big, and passed out. Hit his head on the hood of the minivan, and smacked his face on the guardrail and laid flat. I'm looking at him like, what the hell? I go, what's his deal? She goes, oh, he was driving. That was her husband. He was driving a vehicle. I didn't even know this. So everybody goes through some form of shock or another. Make sure that if you pull up on a scene like that, you have everybody take a seat. You don't want somebody to pass out and cause further injury to themselves. Thank God all he had was some superficial bruising to the face after that. He didn't kill himself. Stabilizing the head and neck is always a priority in any type of accident like that. You can further injure somebody because as you go down your vertebrae from your neck down to your coxal is your tailbone, C1, C2, C3, C, all these C vertebrae control body function. All right, C1 and C2, if you sever that connection between the base of the skull and the neck, that's it. You're dead. If you don't die instantly, you will die very quickly because that's all motor functions and body function right there. As you go down, it controls further and further down your body. Between like C3 and C4, it's going to be your arms. C5, C6 is going to be lower disc areas, so on and so forth as you're going down. The lower in the spinal column you go, the lower in the body it controls. Okay? From the pinky toe all the way up to the top of your head. Now, with shock, have them sit down, elevate the feet, just have them lay there. Watch them, monitor them, have them control their breathing, try to get them to calm down. Breathe into a bag, whatever you can do to get them fit to calm down. You're going to run into other things like epileptic seizures, things like that, or people with epilepsy go into seizures. All right, they used to have so many different ways of doing this. Now you just move everything. Didn't mess it up? We good? Okay. Now, so we got the shock covered, and then we've got poison around this. Well, You can't always tell when somebody's been poisoned. I mean, there's so many different types of poisoning. You used to have firefighters going into burning buildings. Used to go. We wear our turnout gear, bunker gear. Depends on where you go. Is what they're gonna call it. And you're in the middle of that area. You're in the you're in the belly of the beast. You're fighting fire. Next thing you know, you come out. You didn't get burned. You're good to go. You do this for 25 years. Next thing you know, you wind up dying out of nowhere. Everything was good to go. I had a clean bill of health, man. What's wrong with arsenic poisoning? All of those chemicals that are, those gases that are being produced during the fire are going through your turnout gear. Turnout gear and bunker gear is going to protect you from flame and elements, but it's not going to protect you from gases being produced. All right? Now, next thing you're going to run into is, you got antifreeze poisoning. They'll keep you medically induced in an intoxicated state. It's kind of cool. Everybody knows the government gets the best stuff. They get the best weed. We also get the best, I don't know who that is. Oh, yeah. Okay, let me roll this through real quick. So, we don't know about poison or illness, so just call poison control. Last thing, fire suppression. Here's your fire suppression tool. Get everybody out. Call help. First thing you do, call 911. Get help coming. Second thing you want to do is evacuate the building. Third thing you're going to do is worry about the property. If it's a small fire, you can contain it with an ABC dry chem fire extinguisher. The only thing you need to know about is pull, aim, squeeze, and sweep. So pull it, aim it at the heart, pull the pin, aim it at the heart of the fire, squeeze the handle, and in a sweeping motion, put the fire out. When you're done, you back away from the fire. Never turn around from it. It'll literally bite you in the ass. And then the last thing you need to know about is for chemical or any type of big chemical plants, gas plants, whatever, they start catching fire. You don't want to be anywhere close to that. Okay, you're not trained in hazmat response, right? You don't have level 4 mop gear. So what do? Step back. You're gonna aim at the scene. Close your non-dominant eye. And put your thumb straight out in the air like you're hitchhiking. If you can't cover up that entire scene, you're too close. Get the hell away from it, okay? You don't know what type of gases or chemicals have been spilt. So as you step away, until your thumb covers up the end. That's what I got to say about that. One more thing here. Come visit us online, psifortmyers.com. Check us out on Facebook and YouTube, Professional Security Institute. Give us a call at 239-936-7044. And as always, I'm Mike with PSI. Stay informed.